I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day. Let me tell you something. We have amazing people on this show. Okay, so books, authors. You guys know I love authors. Oh my gosh, do I love authors, especially since now, being an author means that you get to mold and shape people. So many people are going after their degrees, certifications, just different things, changing their entire lives to go in the direction that they've always wanted to go in. And my author is an amazing person that can probably help us all go in that direction. I want to welcome Sherry Fernandez to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Yaya. I appreciate you having me on your show. I love your enthusiasm and your energy. It's awesome.
Thank you. I just, yay. Okay, so tell us about yourself. I mean, before the book, so that we can get kind of an idea of why you did the book.
Well, I way back when I was in my 20s and we got married and we just had nothing, just so nothing. And I wanted everything. So I started my own personal journey and I didn't intend to be here. You just never know where it's going to take you. But we were able to really turn things around and have a very successful life. And I began being invited first to teach what I was learning. And then I started doing it more and more professionally. And then I was coaching. I never intended to write a book though. People ask me all the time, you ought to write a book. You ought to put this in a book. And I was like, just not my jam. But then one day somebody said it and it stuck. And I just thought, okay, I think maybe, and my husband said, yeah, really, you need to write the book, as if it was perfectly obvious. It was not obvious to me. And I did. And I just wrote what I knew and what I'd learned, what I've been practicing, what I've been teaching for decades now. I'm proud of the book. Everything in it are only principles that I've applied myself and taught successfully. I didn't just read another book or go research something. I knew everything in here to be true. So I'm really proud of that about the book.
There's so many people out there that do so many different amazing things and they've been told, you should write a book, you should write a book, but they don't know the first place to start. I mean, and literally, I think how would I put this? Like you put yourself down so much that you don't think that you can write the book, because even though you know this subject, what if people get the book and they don't like it? I mean, was that something that you thought about? I mean, literally, it's like, okay, if I write the book, will it sell? I mean, literally speaking, those are all, there's so many more questions. But tell us about your experience. I mean, pen to paper, what was it like? Did you have to kind of, defeat your negative thought? I mean, what was that process for you?
I'm a pretty confident and optimistic person, and I'm a believer, but no, I don't think anybody's going to write a book and not have those, but they do. They're not probably a very good book. No. And what mine is, first of all, I thought, I had done some writing. The only writing I ever done is I had a blog when I had my fitness business, and I got pretty good at that. I thought it was pretty good. But otherwise, I'd never really done any writing at all. I never thought of myself as a writer. So that was the first thing. I started writing the book and I was like, you know what? I'm actually pretty good at this. And I was getting good feedback from people around me, but I really felt like, but then the biggest negative thing was my age. I thought nobody wants to read a book from a woman who's 60, at the time, 66 years old, 60, well, whatever it was, 65, I don't know, whatever it was in there. That maybe I'm too old for this. That was kind of my concern and the negative voice in my head. But I know a lot about negative voices. And of course I work with other people, help them get rid of their negative voices. So I said, whatever, maybe I am, but I'm going to do this thing. And that's it. I'm just going to do the thing. Maybe nobody will read it. Maybe it will be not that great. Maybe people will think it's, silly or whatever they'll think. I'm going to do this thing. I'm doing it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to make money on it. I'm just going to do it. And it's just good. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to throw it out there and see where it goes. Wow. I'm still doing that, actually, seeing where it goes.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, just like, okay, look, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's any way getting around that. You probably had it starting your podcast, I don't think there's any way getting around those. The thing is to develop a skill to quiet them down and not let them be in your way. Those voices of you can't do this, you're too whatever, or not enough of something. It's just a skill to let those go. And I'm going to do it anyway. I might not be a good writer. I might be too old, but I'm doing it anyway.
Hello, hello. You know what? Too old nowadays. People are like 114 and dying. And I'm like, what am I going to do for the next 70 years? 60, 70 years. I mean, literally speaking, do I have to live that long? I mean, I think about these things. Okay. I'm halfway there. I'm at 50 years old. Okay. So 50 years old, that means I have 50 more years. What the heck am I going to do for 50 more years? I mean, it's like,
You'll be busy.
I probably will, but it's
there's
just
always
so funny. It's hilarious. But you have a book called Life Mastery, Personal Progression Toward an Infinite Potential. And I think that people need to, I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it again because I think people need, and I think I need, okay, I'm talking people, me people, not anybody else. Forget everybody else. It's me people, okay? Life Mastery, Personal Progression Toward an Infinite Potential. I mean, an infinite potential is one thing. Personal progression towards an infinite potential is totally something different. How did you come up with this?
Oh, well, I don't think I came up with it. It was I came up with the title, but the
Right.
concept is, I mean, you think about it, what people can do. Look at all the amazing things people can do. And I believe that it's an eternal progression anyway, from this life to the next life. We can just keep growing and growing and growing infinitely. We're in a kind of time-bound place here in this mortal world, but it's still, the opportunities are just amazing, right? And really, I think that we're intended to be something so much bigger and greater and grander than we can even imagine. You think about, I'm sure this happened to you, it's happened to me over and over again. You set this goal, you think this is a high goal, you reach it and way excel it. We just do that all the time. We set these goals. I had these certain ideas of what I thought would mean a successful life. Every area I've exceeded those. It just is amazing, right? And that's kind of what jazz is with working with people, is just seeing the amazing things that they can do. But here's a thought. If you talk about people, we talk about being stuck. A lot of people say I'm stuck, people in my world, they came to me, they feel stuck, or I feel like I'm backsliding, which is really more the truth, because you can't really be stuck, right? You're either backsliding or moving forward. And it's unhappy. And we know that that's depression. We know that there's anxiety about the future when you're feeling like you're stuck. It's unhappiness. Everybody would agree that, but we don't always stop and consider that. If that's unhappiness, then happiness is moving forward. And it is. And it's only little steps. You don't have to move like leap forward, because there's no leaping forward anyway. There's just little steps. All it takes is, you're never going to get there because we're infinite and our potential is infinite. So you're never going to arrive. It's those little steps forward that make us happy.
Wait, you're never going to get there. That is a big statement for me, because I mean, a lot of people think that they're going to get there. Like, oh, when I get there. That's the biggest statement that I've heard, especially in the music industry. And okay, so you have become, and for example, okay, author of the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and the USA Today bestseller book. And have you gotten there?
No, because guess what happens? Every time you get somewhere, before you're even there, you're like, oh, and then I would like to do this. And then there's this to do, right? No matter what you're working on, whether it's a weakness in yourself or a project or anything, it's like the mountain climbing analogy, right? You get to the top and there's another mountain, and there's another mountain, there's another mountain. So it's endless. And we just set our goals, reset our goals. I hope so. Because if you didn't, that's what gives us purpose and happiness in life. We need a continuing, a moving target, that moves out there. Accomplish this one, and then let's move on to the next thing.
Wow. So you never get there.
You never get there. You think about really what you really want. What would you really want spiritually, or fit? What kind of a body would you really want? And what kind of an education would you really want? Like it's, you can't even hardly put it in words, right? How smart would you like to be? How many books would you like to read, Yaya? How many books would you like to read, right?
Like to read and read are two different things, darling.
And it's never ending, right?
No.
You just can't even comprehend how much you would like to know. So there are all aspects of life are like that. My character, how integrous what I like to be. It's hard to even, because every time I find that I conquer a thing, there's another thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
You're
it's
so
just, you
right.
got to learn the joy of the journey, that every step of the way, that's where you want to be. And there's only happiness in the present moment. So you take happiness in the present achievement, the present moment, the thing you do. You have that goal out there, but you're taking the joy, and it comes. People think, especially in the social media world where people look so successful so easily, they think
Yeah.
I just got to leap to this place of losing 20 pounds or
Oh
having
my
this
God.
much money or having this education. I don't want to start my education. It'll take me 4 years. You just think I have to leap into this end thing, and there's no jumping the chasm. It's just baby steps, just little steps.
Wow, baby steps. I remember the movie that introduced that to my life.
What
What
was it?
about what about Bob?
Oh,
Baby steps. Remember that? Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that was hilarious. But it was revolutionary. I mean, it came in a point where, and like you were saying, it comes in a point where people think baby steps, but then they think that baby steps lead to this gigantic step. But a lot of times baby steps are really dangerous. I mean, think about it. You're trying to walk, but you fall on your face.
yeah, yeah.
You get back up and you can't balance. I mean, literally speaking, baby steps from here to there can take a while. It
Yeah,
can take
doesn't
a
mean
while.
they're all going to go forward, does it? Sometimes it
No.
means picking yourself up and starting again, taking another baby step. It's really
Mm-hmm.
true. But the cool thing is this too, is like people will come with me. They just need to start with something, right? It could be something as simple as brushing your teeth, or a prayer, or a meditation, or just some little thing, and we start there. But the thing with it is the steps compound. So it's a little baby step today, and then tomorrow I have twice the benefit of that one step. They multiply, like they compound, like compound interest. So now I've got twice as much. The third day, I'm going to get doubled again. You see what I'm saying? The steps aren't just like one linear path. They're going to just compound and expand, and they're going to come faster and faster and faster. Still little steps, but more and more of them, and bigger results all the time.
Wow. So, okay, so you've been a student of personal development for 40 plus years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What is the biggest thing that you've seen that people are just ignoring that's just like right up in front of their face? They can do it, but they don't.
I think it's just starting. I
Mm.
think it's that thing. The hardest part is just starting, and of course, what's that old Chinese proverb, is the longest journey starts with one step. It's really a true thing, right? It's just start with something. It doesn't have to be everything, because it's bombarding. I need to lose this weight, but I need to get my budget in order, and I need to work on my relationship, and I really could do better with my whatever it is, all these things, right? Just start with one thing, one step, and it will come. It'll all come.
Mm, mm, mm. You've gone through a lot. You had an inspiring story, and all of these things head up to where you are right now. Okay,
Yeah,
because you're not arrived. You never
not
will.
arrived.
Not a real no, no. I don't think like you said, no one arrives. Okay.
No
You're
one arrived.
always moving forward. And that is a good thing. And when you're moving backwards, you're saying you're depressed. But you know all about this. What kind of advice and what kind of movement do you suggest people do? Because everybody is different, but there is always one commonality between us all.
Yeah, there's a few. It's interesting, when I work with clients, and we want to start with daily. First, we had to do a big dreams list. I get them starting there, so I get them thinking big, and then we work on daily habits and a tracking sheet. But then I let them choose. What would be the one thing, or 1 to 3 things usually, that you would like to have as a daily habit? And everybody tends to pick out of. They pick it. They pick out of a pool of maybe 6 or 8 things, 8 at the most, and it's usually a daily working out of some sort. It's usually something spiritual, like a prayer, meditation. It can be drinking more water is a really common one. So those kind of things, meditation, prayer, reading is a big one. Usually just choose one of those kind of items. It's not, and then they'll maybe have one thing that's in their field, like maybe they're trying to write a book, so they'll pick writing every day, like that.
Mhm.
But usually most of them are going to come out of a pool of things that are common to everybody. If you study successful people and what their daily habits are, they all pick out of that same pool of things, right? They read every day. They probably do some kind of spiritual practice every day. They work on their body every day. They've got just certain habits that they do every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just amazing to have you on the show. Now that you've written your book and it's gone bestseller, what's the next step for you? What is the next baby step for you?
Well, I'm spending the next, I'll tell you what I just did. Let me tell you what I just did. I'm so proud of myself. 2 years I've been working on. I've wanted to do this off and on all my life, for years, not for all my life, but for years anyway. But they're just mailing out today, in fact, a planner that goes with the Life Mastery. So it's a day planner. And so we started with people already familiar with the program, right? Because there's a place for daily written affirmations. There's a place for tracking your habits in it, plus your regular day plan thing. So that project, I'm still kind of in the middle of it, getting it out. And then I've got some others I need to get sold and some stuff, but really proud of that. And then I'm going to push the book through, continue to do I'll do podcasts as often as I'm invited, of course, but I won't push it as hard as I have the last few months. I'm going to go into about July, and then I'm going to let it see where it goes. You just give it a rest, right? But we're getting ready to build a house, I think, build or buy or remodel house. So I got that project coming up. But for me personally, I'm just going to probably continue with some clients and workshops and just see where the book goes. I'm giving it its own space, giving it everything it's got, but I'm not setting goals for it. I'd love to see it sell really well. And
Yeah.
I've got some, we're doing a lot of travel and some other things in mind, but we have 21 grandchildren. And so one of our projects is to get each one of them on a super trip. So we're working on that right now too.
21 grandchildren.
Yeah.
I have 3. I am got to catch up.
Yeah, you gotta get busy. You got to start with.
It's not going to happen.
6 kids and that. Yeah, I had 6 kids. You got to start a long way back.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Personal progression towards an infinite potential. Potential is a big deal, but it also can be kind of debilitating. You have such great potential. I've heard that so many times, and I've heard people say that to other people so many times. How do you get past potential into infinite?
I think what trips you up there is when somebody says you have so much potential. Underlying is the thought that you aren't living up to it, right?
Yeah, right.
Somebody says you have so much potential. It's like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Right? They'll tell you that when you're really doing well. They tell you when you fall short. Yeah, that's a good and tricky question. I think that innately we know that we all have an infinite potential when we stop and really consider it. When it goes to application, it's a little tougher. So I think we get stuck with just potential and not on infinite. If you would ask anybody just in conversation, do you think your potential is infinite? They would say yes. If they're in a stuck place and they don't know what to do with themselves, or they're just ready to do something, they're like, I don't know. I don't know if this is for me. You got to believe in yourself and believe that your potential is infinite. But interestingly enough, the way you do it is you start. You have to start doing something before you can really. I guess what I'm trying to say is you feel it. You know that it's infinite. You know everybody's got infinite potential when you stop and think about it. But when it comes to applying it to yourself, it's trickier.
How do you trick your brain? How do you trick your brain how do you trick yourself and your brain into moving forward? I mean, there's got to be a way to literally kind of like, for those people who are so scared to move forward, so scared to jump in with 2 feet, so scared to just baby steps. It's just scared. They can't even take baby steps. Okay. They're like on minute little ant steps, and they're not moving anywhere. How do they get forward? Is there like a way to do this? Is 15 minutes a day time? I mean, I don't know, but I am sure that you have conquered this in many people, because this is what you do.
Yeah. There's one of those old saints like St. Augustine, or one of those guys said, I don't believe because I see because I believe. And I think that the essence of that is you're not going to believe in yourself until you start moving forward. It'd be nice to trick yourself into feeling all that potential, but this is the way life is designed. Life rewards deserves, and you deserve by moving forward, and then you can believe in yourself. You just have to believe. You have to believe a little bit in order just to get started, but you're not really going to prove it until you actually do something. You just have to start. It's
Wow.
just how this world is designed. It would be nice if we could believe in them, but you just have to start and
Yeah.
quiet the voices in your head and just move forward.
I love you.
You know,
That's
there's
oof.
a lot of social media and a lot of, it's very trendy, and some of the books that are out are very trendy, like you're worth it. You just, and you are, everybody's worth it. And you should just feel good about yourself. And they should just love you the way you are. Well, they should, maybe, but we're not going to love ourselves like anybody else. You can't respect yourself, love yourself, if you don't do things worth loving. You don't have the respect for yourself and the proof that you can do things. So you have to move forward first, and then the belief will come. And the more you exercise that, the more belief in yourself you'll have.
Wow. I love you. Thank you so much for being on the show, Sherry Fernandez. You guys, okay, so life mastery, personal progression toward an infinite potential is available today. You guys can get that. We're going to get that and put that link in the description box below so that you can go ahead and get that. You have infinite potential and you're never, ever going to arrive.
No,
Just going to
but
break
happiness
your
is in the
bubble.
journey. So that's
There you
going to
go.
be just okay. Yeah.
That's okay. It's according to Ms. Fernandez, it is okay. You're never going to arrive. You're always going to have something different, and you're always going to be moving forward, hopefully. And if you're moving backwards, what should they do if they move backwards?
Well, they're going to move backwards here. It's just part of the thing. Well, I mean, not so much backwards. It feels like backwards, but you can't ever unknow what you know, including what your potential is and what your habits should be. You just start again. You just start again. Maybe you have a few days, you slip up. You just, I teach a tracking sheet. You know, I use a tracking sheet, and they're so free on my website, by the way, that every website I've had for the last 10 or 12, 13 years has made those available to people just for free. You can download them, but it's just like a chart where you put your list of daily things and the dates across the top, and you check them off as you do them every day, right? So my clients, I'll use those, and sometimes they'll come back and like, I missed a couple of things here, or I got off the wagon and I just missed complete everything for a couple of days. But you've got your sheet right there. You just start again. You just start again. The very next time you think of it, you just start again, and it's easier to keep going though than to quit and then have to start over again. It's easier just to do it every day, like a workout, right? It's easier to work out every day than to take a break for a few days and have to come back. But that happens, you just do it and you move forward again. And it's just part of the human experience. It feels slow, but it was amazing how, like, I'll work with somebody maybe 2-3 months, and then all of a sudden they'll have a book started, and they're working out every day, and they don't even realize all of a sudden they're just doing all these things, not because I'm amazing, but because I'm just helping them do what they want to do, right? And it's just amazing how quickly they have these things in place once they start.
That's amazing. It is amazing. And it is because of you, because if on their own device, they would still be doing what they're doing right now, which is probably nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's true. It's amazing. That just amazes me over and over again. Yeah. Like they'll come in, like somebody will come in, like I've got 2 clients now who I'm really enjoying a lot. One has wanted to write a book for, like, I don't know, since her first child, who's an adult and pregnant herself, was little. And now she has got a rough draft of her book. And we've only been working together 4 or 5 months. And it was just like within a 2 or 3 weeks, once I found this out, I said, well, could you start tomorrow? And she said, yeah, I could do that. Could you write 2 hours tomorrow? I said, yeah, I could do that. And so we worked on her writing 2 hours, 4 days a week. It just had somebody to say, could you start?
Wow.
Another gal's got a Christian album that she's been wanting to do with her husband, and they've got, I don't know how that works, you know better than me, but they've got whatever, they're just adding all the fancy stuff in it now. So, and they've only been maybe 3 or 4 months. And it's just something she's wanted to do for a few years. It just needs somebody. So I wonder how many people they just had somebody to say, hey, why don't you start tomorrow? But you almost have to pay them to tell you that, or they won't do it.
They're like, I ain't wasting this money. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. My coach told me to do this, so I'm going to go do it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. That's the trick to coaching. You should find what people want and then just help them move towards it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And if you need an amazing coach, like Miss Fernandez, then you're going to need to contact her. Her information is in the description box below, along with the link to the book. I mean, and that free worksheet so that you can get your life on track every single day. And if you miss a couple of days, just like Sherry said, just pick up when you remember. It's all.
No, don't miss, but if you do, you're just human.
There you go. There you go. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Miss Fernandez, thank you so much for being on the show. You have given
Thank
us
you.
so many good tidbits. I'm going to split this in pieces and send it out to everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing your show. I hope some great things happen out of this show and all the shows that you produce. I hope you'll just touch a lot of lives. I know you are touching a lot of
Thank you.
lives.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
so
job.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. Don't forget to dare to be different. But most of all, don't forget, just start. Just
Just start.
whatever. Just start.
Start
Okay.
today.
All right. All right, guys. Bye.